Alright, since the last video I got myself this proper Docker hat, so I can finally be a photography expert and talk about photography stuff. No, but actually you can now focus on my face, on my eyes, not on my overexposed forehead, I guess. That was one of the, most reasonable explanation for the question I asked in the previous video. Anyway, the $168 G-Master. This lens is too good to be true. I've heard a lot of, praises like this about the TTartisan 40 f2 for Sony. So I've decided to get myself one. And this video is not sponsored, obviously, because I'm not gonna talk about, I'm not gonna praise this lens like a lot of people did. Probably because they received the lens from the TTartisan, and I'm not saying that because I'm jealous or something, because TTartisan has sent me their gear in the past already, so I have no intention, no need to be jealous because I received stuff from them. But this review is totally independent, like 100%, because I've just bought myself this lens. I bought this lens with a trip in mind, and I've decided I'm going to try it because the 40mm is a great focal length. It's between the 35 and 50, which gives you that little sweet spot. And I like TTartisan because their lenses, most of their lenses, have this cool vintage rendering that no other lenses like Viltrox or Sony offer these days. So that was like the main reason I decided to purchase this lens. And it's also cool because it has the aperture of f2, so it lets in some more light than the Viltrox 42.5 or the Sony 42.5. But I guess this is where the good stuff about this lens ends for me right now. Well, one of the cool things as well is that it's really compact, and well, it looks pretty good on the Sony A7C, for example, like this. The pro tip here, right? I'm using the protective filter instead of the lens cap. So when you put this in your bag and you just want to put it out quickly and take some pictures, you don't have to uncap your lens, so it's ready. And if this gets dirty, you can just wipe it off with a cloth. And I'm sure this was done way before me, but I think this is a really cool solution. So anyway, the TTartisan 40 f2 for Sony is a fun lens, of course, but I think even after the new firmware update, the lens is still very unreliable, especially if you're using the AFC mode. It kind of works good, well, okay when you're using AFS, but it's still it's most of the time it's refocusing even at a single point. So if you are focusing on something and if you want a quick, reliable focus, well, this lens is not it, definitely. So don't listen to anybody who's saying the autofocus is good, because it's not. And of course I'm talking about the Sony version because that's the one I've got. But yeah, this lens is definitely not good in terms of AF. It does provide like a little soft and vintage image. And that's what I like about it, because I really don't like the clinical lenses. The Viltrox, for example, the Air series from Viltrox is really nice, but they are too sharp for me. And even at, you know, wide open, they still provide great image quality, and well, that's not what I'm looking for in the lenses. And the TTartisan is giving me this cool vintage rendering, so that's why I bought this lens. But I've taken a lot of shots during my trip to Germany, and well, some of them were unusable because of the missed focus, and that's kind of sad, because when I also use this lens on the AFC mode with the f4 and above, the AF is going crazy. And if you want to do, you know, the eye tracking, that just forget about it. If you are okay with the AFS, then sure, go ahead, because this lens is pretty okay when it comes to the image quality and to the vibe that it gives you. But if you're looking for a reliable lens with a decent AF, do not listen to people telling you this lens is really good or it has nice AF. Maybe not the best, but nice. No, it's not nice. It's definitely not nice. So TTartisan, if you are listening, you should, you know, make another firmware update and maybe do it a little better this time.